Airplanes. So Microsoft Flight Simulator has come out recently, and I've been really enjoying watching a lot of you people posting videos online on trying to master these aircraft. And let me tell you, a lot of you are struggling. I was watching Dr. Disrespect's video just yesterday on him trying to fly these airplanes, and it was hilarious. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of walk you through the some of the basic stuff of Microsoft Flight Sim in a series of videos to get you up and get you to where you can master the aircraft. Uh, the sim does a lot of great stuff in walking you through the aircraft systems, but what we're going to do today is I'm going to just show you how to start up pretty easy, and then just monitoring your instruments and straight and level flight. So once we get you to that point, I think is when you can start having some fun. You can start playing around with the aircraft and not crash. I think Dr. Disrespect crashed over a dozen times yesterday, and I'm seeing a lot of my non-aviator friends start to install this, especially since it's on Xbox now, on the Xbox Game Pass. Beautiful game. I love the sim. Little background history on me. I'm currently a captain for an airline, and I have over 10 years of aviation instruction experience. I'm a flight instructor. So let's fire it up. Let's get to it. Let's see what we got. All right. Press start. Here we go. Used to have a nice flight sim setup, but I sold it. And the thing about a nice flight sim setup is it's only for one airplane, and I like flying the different types of airplanes. So having a Skyhawk setup for a 747 wasn't really doing it for me, so I sold it all. I'm using a HOTUS joystick setup right now. I got this because I'm real excited for the VR. I have the Valve Index, pretty powerful computer I just built, so I'm real excited to be able to flip switches with my fingers and do stuff like that whenever that comes out. I think the next update for Microsoft Flight Sim is going to be the helicopters. So we'll see where they go for that. Got long load times. Checking for updates. Probably should have done this before the video. I guess I should talk about some aviation concepts here, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to enjoy the music. Look at this Skyhawk's butt. These valleys are dangerous. You get this Skyhawk, it's not turbocharged. It flies into this valley and you won't be able to fly out of it. Rapidly rising terrain. They call that CFIT, controlled flight and terrain. Uh, Take a look and see what happened to Kobe Bryant. But anyway, gorgeous in-game screenshot. All right, so when you log in, you got training, you got all this other stuff here, but really, world map, let me show you this. A lot of people have trouble with this that I've seen in videos. You have this from select departure airport. Okay, yeah, that's cool, but the search is actually right here. So I can do things like my home airport. I can do Alliance Fort Worth, right? Oh, there it is. I can type in JFK. Boom, JFK Airport. You can click on any of these dots. These are all parking spaces. This is actually kind of convenient for me. You can start on a runway. You start on a runway, everything's on. All you have to do is turn the parking brake off and add power. All right. Otherwise, if you start in the gates, you have to turn everything on. You have to flip the switches, which I think is a call for a pushback. Though I haven't figured out how to call for pushback without turning my engines on. That's really weird for a TBM, but I guess TBMs don't need pushbacks, do they? Just depends on what gate you're in. So let's pick a runway for departure. Let's make this simple for today. Is there anyone coming in, landing, flying today? Let's do live players just because it might be fun. Okay, I got some. I don't know where these guys are coming in from. It's starting to populate. Here we go. It's populating now. Look at these live players. It looks like a lot of people are trying to take off 4 left. Guess they want to take off 4 left because that takes them over downtown. You know what? Let's take off 4 right. Click it. You can populates a list on the right side, but you can click set departure here. Let's pick an airplane. I'm going to pick a simple airplane here today, and we're going to do the G1000. The G1000 is the one where people can't find the airspeed and stuff on, so let's just do the G1000 Skyhawk right here. Let's do this guy. 4 right. Let's fly it. Let's go over downtown. So when flying straight and level, that's what we're going to focus on today. There's a concept called positive dynamic stability. So what happens with the airplane is you have your 4 forces of flight. You have thrust, lift, weight, and drag, right? So if you're flying the airplane and you pull up, the airspeed's going to slow down. The weight of your airplane is going to cause the nose to drop, and you're going to start going down. Okay, when you start going down, you're going to increase airspeed, which is going to increase lift, which is going to lift the nose. The nose lifts, you're going to slow down. The weight's going to increase, the lift is going to reduce, so it can't lift the weight. The nose is going to drop, and pretty soon, what you're going to have is you can have these oscillations that get smaller and smaller, and pretty soon your airplane will just level out on its own. Now, this is important only if your airplane is trimmed out. We're going to talk about trim today. But keep in mind, you don't have to constantly, your goal should be able to fly the airplane with minimal inputs. You shouldn't have to be constantly pitching or yawing or moving the stick all the time. So we are going to practice that today here. And there's some other things you need to do. But the important thing to note is that an airplane will typically wants to fly straight on its own, so long as you have it configured correctly. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm gonna show you how to configure that correctly here today with trim. A lot of new pilots, and I can tell you a lot of examiners who give check rides, they want to see you use the trim. Trim is one of the more important control surfaces of an aircraft, and it's really what makes or break great pilots. You can go all the way up and fly, the Dreamliner. You trim out the Dreamliner, you don't even need autopilot. All right, here we go. Oh, one thing I want to one thing I want to show too is the assistance. Okay, so right off the bat with the assistance, you hit escape, you can come into the assistant setting, you can customize it here. Now I kind of customized it for what I currently have been enjoying with new airframes that I haven't flown before. But piloting, you have all these assistant yokes. The auto rudder might be nice for you when you're first taking off. This right here, this delegate ATC to AI. You have your co-pilot work the radios for you. You don't need to be clicking through a menu every 3 seconds and ATC going, do you respond? Do you respond? And you get a phone number and you get F-16s off your wing and they intercept you and you got to rock your wings and then they follow you down an airport and you get arrested, all that good stuff. So let's ignore that. Let's just have our co-pilot do that. So we're going to delegate ATC to AI. We're going to have that on. Boom. Okay, assisted checklists are on here. We're starting on the runway. We're not really playing with turning the airplane on or off or setting up flight plans right now. So the assisted checklist is really good for a quick start. He flips the switches for you. All you have to do is fly the airplane. This is also what it's like in a dual crew environment for airlines. If you're flying the big airplanes, they require 2 pilots. So this assisted checklist is pretty cool. We'll talk about checklists later in another video. That is all I wanted to show you, is to have those things on. All right, so now let's take a look. Did he kill my engine? Oh, sorry. I was flying multi-engine airplanes the other day, and I forgot this is tied. Mixture control throttles is coupled. Hang on. No worries, no worries. All right, so we don't need the radios. He's going to handle the radios, so we can get that out of the way. All right, so let's look here at our cockpit. I'm going to show you 2 things here. This is called your PFD. Okay, right here on the left side, this ticker right here, this ribbon, is your true is your airspeed. Okay, and then below it is your true airspeed. Okay, on the left you have your altimeter, you have your heading here. Okay, course, FMS, all this stuff here. What you want to do is for your baro, you set your barometric pressure to the current outside temperature, but if he's working the auto checklist and all that, it should already be set. Volume, your radios are up here at the top, your navigation's up here. This is your inclinometer here and your rate of turn, heading. This is your altimeter, and this is your rate of climb or descent. So basically this area right here is what you're primarily going to be looking at for your straight level flight. You don't want any numbers here. If this thing is right here in the center, you're not climbing or descending. This is very important. Let's push it. There we go. Set to current heading. Range. Do I want the map? I don't think I want that map there. Looks good. All right. When you can go into the menu on most of these, declutter, menu section, menu. All right. So it's not really set up here in the game, but you can set your airspeed tickers, V1, VR, VX, VY, which is really nice, but they're not going to be on here. For the Skyhawk, we're looking at about climbing out at around 70 knots once, and we're going to want to rotate around just prior to 60 knots. We'll play it safe for you guys. Yeah, disengage the parking brake. So this is your PFD. This is what you're going to be looking for. Over here on your right side is just your map and engine gauges and stuff like that. We want to keep this in the green arc for cruise. Okay. Always look at your engine instruments, make sure everything's in the green. Green's good, everything else is bad. Okay. Now on the airspeed indicator, you notice there's a little white ribbon here just before the green ribbon. That white arc is your flap range. So we're actually that's going to be for landing. When you come into land, take some flaps. We have a pretty long runway, so we don't need flaps for takeoff. Let's take a look outside. Here we go. So again, you have your tickers that represent your PFD or your ribbons. I don't know why I say tickers. I just think it sounds fun. Airspeed's over here. Here's your engine gauge, your fuel, angle of attack. So this tells you if you pitch up too much, you can get to a stall. It doesn't matter what your airspeed is. Over here, your flap setting and your trim setting. And trim needs to be set for takeoff. So let's set this in the green area for takeoff. There we go. Your altitude and your vertical speed here. So let's try taking off and let's try getting to about 1,000 feet. Before we do that, which says we're at a minus, let's change this baro here real quick just so it says 0. There we go. Good enough for me. 3005 is probably what the I don't know what the field elevation is here, but I'm pretty sure it's like sea level. So all right, so here we are. The guy couldn't taxi onto the center line apparently. All right, I'm ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the parking brake. I'm going to add power right into the green arc. Max power for the Skyhawk. Little P factor. I don't have the assistance on for the rudder, so I'm going to get back on the center line. We're looking for this airspeed to start increasing. Airspeed's increasing. It's alive now. Oops, someone was landing here. All right, there we go. Ah, there's people on the runway. All right, now we're just kind of pitching up just a little bit for the 70 knots. Nothing too crazy. Now, if I let go of the controls, airplane pitches down. Yeah, it's saying don't sink. So we need a little bit more nose up trim. There we go. So you can see I'm not even touching the controls right now. Airspeed's bleeding off. That's probably a little too much. Let's see what we got here. Sinking. Where do we trim it out? What's that? All right, I'm not touching the controls. Look at this. Holding about 76, 75 knots. Airspeed is bleeding off just a little bit. Got 1,000 per minute feet per minute climb. This is good. This is holding 70 knots. We're climbing here. I'm not touching anything. Autopilot's not on or anything. That has to do with that trim down there by in the bottom right, over here. Oop. Over here. Okay. You got this 12% trim. It's what's causing to hold the airspeed. Now, I will come in here and adjust the turn. Let's see. Let's keep climbing up. We're at 700 feet. Let's go over here. Let's fly by New York City. Let's go down to Manhattan. Here we go. Roll the wings level. Hands off. With everything you want to do, you want to set a pitch. You want to set for what you want. So you hold it. I'm here 700 feet per minute climbing. My airspeed's holding. I'm going to set it. And then I'm going to trim to hold it. So when I let go of the controls, the airplane doesn't go anywhere. This thing does turn to the right. It's got a little P factor. Propeller driven airplanes have P factor. It causes the airplane to want to turn to the left a little bit. So we'll just make those small corrections every now and then. This is it. Look at this. We're flying. It's funny how this knowledge can just dramatically make it easier. Okay. There. Set the correct altitude. Press B. There we go. I didn't want to get the ATIS. All right, we're going to level off here at 2,000 feet. So when we talk about that pitch plus power equals performance, here we are. We're 100 feet from our target altitude. Oh, what is this jet doing? All right, I'm going to start leveling off here. Here we go. Now I'm pitching for this vertical. I'm looking at this vertical speed tape. I want this to say it shows 0, right? Now am I using forward pressure down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce power for cruise, and then I'm going to trim nose down to hold it. Look at that. Airspeed's increasing. We are climbing. This might be some of that. As the airspeed increases, it's going to want to climb. So I'll need to add just a little bit more nose down trim every now and then, because as the airspeed increases, it's going to want to go up. We talked about that dynamic stability. I am off my altitude now because I'm talking. Let's go back down. Airspeed is going to come down, so I need to add a little bit more nose down trim. Here's 2000. Airspeed's increasing. Add a little bit more nose down. Ooh, that might be too much. You want to be about right in there. Yeah, this looks pretty good. We're flying pretty fast. Small corrections. Good deal. That's it. Flying straight. Small corrections. Holding airspeed. Holding altitude. All with this trim. And just remember, the faster you go, the more nose down trim you're going to need. Look at that. Look at New York, man. Look at this game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Every time you change your airspeed, you're going to need to retrim the airplane. So conf redo, configure, and the other thing too with the trim is I can go here. Doesn't really show. Let's tick right here. Here's a standard degree, 30-degree turn. If I add a little nose up, oh no, let's see. Well, we're holding 30 degrees. There's 30-degree turn. I pitched up a little bit. It's a little harder. It's hard because I can't feel the G forces. If I could feel the G forces in the airplane, this would be a little bit easier, I think. Let's go all the way to a steep turn here. There we go. Need a little nose up. Close enough. Close enough. All right. Well, that's what we're going to do for today. So master that trim. Know your airspeed, altitude, vertical speed. Look at your vertical speed a lot. We'll talk about navigation in the next one. That's basically what we have. So look at your vertical speed. Make sure you work that trim. Find the controls for your trim. Trim's what makes you a perfect straight and level pilot. And have fun with it. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a tweet at CFI Stu. See you later, guys.